What's going on, everybody? So today we're talking about all of the Warband activities. Darth, Chosen I, we've all been grinding this out for the past couple of hours. If you've not checked us out on Darth's stream, but we have basically experienced all of the new Warband content that the game has to offer, and we've gone ahead and tested several things about the Warband content. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a complete rundown of everything that we've learned so far, starting with the castle itself. So in the Warband menu here, we're going to have the entire castle. There's going to be a ton of options and a ton of bonuses. The main things that you have to realize is you're going to have the room management and ancestral weapons, which are entire mechanics of their own, members themselves, the Warband activities, following that up with the, of course, description, but more importantly, the room management, ancestral weapons, and the Warband activities. Let's start this off with actually getting access to the castle. In order to get access to the castle, you have to go and talk to the guy, the Warband guy outside of this, which if we just leave this, which is the guy who I just talked to, Valstus. He's going to be a green quest on the left-hand side. You're going to talk to him. You're going to go ahead and do whatever he says to do, and you're going to get access to the castle, assuming you're in a Warband. And then, of course, once you go ahead and get to the castle, which is this guy you're going to have to talk to, you're going to have access to all of the activities as well as the bonuses inside. So first thing we'll talk about is the different rooms. You can see there's a bunch of different rooms. The rooms themselves don't really matter. You can see I can just go ahead and run over there real quick. And the rooms, the physical locations don't really matter. However, the bonuses that they have do matter. So you can see here, we're in the armory. This is Speed's room. It doesn't really matter. But the bonuses here, if we just check the Warband menu, and we click on the room management, you can see that this is the bonuses that they were talking about. Now, each one of these does something different. Each person that you put in these little different rooms is going to get that specific bonus. On top of that, you're also going to be able to upgrade them with these remnants here. These remnants are things that you acquire in the Purge the Depths minigame, which I'll just go over in just a moment. Each remnant bonus can do something special, and you can only have a certain amount of remnants active. As far as I could tell, you have certain bonuses and sets. For example, this is the Manifest Carnage set or something like that, and then you have a bunch of different sets active, and this applies, and you can only have 20 of these remnant sets, as far as I can tell. Each one of these is going to do something different, of course, and you can go ahead and activate, hey, I want to switch in this set, or I want to go ahead and switch in this set, etc., etc. And then based on that set that you can activate, it's going to determine which bonuses are active for your squad. Again, if I were to switch in this one, you would see that, let me just go back to the rooms, all the bonuses are different, and the attacker ones is going to be super bonused up, as well as the apothecary ones. You can see the attacker ones can actually be very, very impactful. This one has a double hit, or well, I guess it's up to one maximum, but you can see here, 10% critical hit damage when your critical hit chances are greater than 70%. Basically what this means is 10% extra damage, critical hit damage in banner, which is really, really nice. But that's going to be your room management. In order to get your remnants here, you're going to go ahead and head over to the Purge the Depths minigame, which is on the top of the castle, or the, I guess you could say northeast. And you're going to hit Purge the Depths. This difficulty is based on the number of Warband members. You can run in here as one player, and you can just do the actual mechanic just by yourself or with 8 members. There's no downside to doing it by yourself because you'll just get access to additional sets that you can give to your whole warband, and your warband leader can decide which ones to make active. In this game mode, you're just going to run through and go to each of the doors, clear out all the rooms, open the chests for chance at remnants, and then eventually you'll get access to this green item that will drop, and you'll be able to go ahead and pick it up and fight the boss in the middle. Once you fight the boss in the middle, the whole thing ends. Most likely, you're going to want to clear out all 3 rooms before you pick up that green item, so that way you don't spawn the boss and kill the boss, and you can go ahead and finish off the rooms to get as much loot as possible. Again, this game mode is very, very simplistic. It's not very difficult. You'll find guardians, like Rift Guardians, in each one of these sections. You have to kill them before you move on to the next, otherwise the doors will be locked. This is going to be the way to go ahead and get Warband activity, as well as remnants. Now that I mentioned Warband activity, I'll go ahead and just talk about that very briefly before we jump into the big topic, which is ancestral weapons and invocations. So if we go to the Warband here and we just click on this little icon in the top right, you'll see Warband activity acquired, bonus rate 769 out of 1,000. It says you can acquire 1,000 points of Warband activity per week more efficiently. Maximum store Warband activity 1,500. So right here you can see there's a soft cap to Warband activity. You can get 1,000 points per week. And then after that, I'm not sure how the Warband activity kind of filters in. With this Warband activity, we do something with the ancestral weapons, which now's the time to talk about that because it's basically the big mechanic of this whole thing and why you do everything that you need to do. So right here, you can see there's a bunch of weapons in here. You can get rares or you can get legendaries, and each person that's part of the Warband will put a weapon in here. Now, these weapons are only the ones that have the ancestral properties attached to them. They have specific ancestral properties. In the game, when you run around, you'll have a chance to go ahead and pick up these ancestral property legendaries throughout the entire game. I was gambling earlier and I happened to get one. I even have one equipped right here, and I could, you can see ancestral property, I could go ahead and actually put this in the cube or put this in the tableau here and go ahead and get some advantages. However, I'm using it because it was ended up being a triple double stat, so I actually equipped it instead of putting it in the tableau. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. You can also get invocations throughout the areas, which is like something like this Dishonored Blade here. You can see the invocation. And basically, the way this works is you have an invocation tied to each one of your gear pieces, and that invocation will have a chance to proc your ancestral property here. And the ancestral property, whatever you choose, you can choose each one of these 8 is the thing that's going to activate. So for example, here, I have 2 gear pieces that have invocations on them. This one, it says defeating an enemy has a 25% chance to proc Ancestral Invocation. And this one says granting a beneficial effect has a 50% chance to proc an Ancestral Invocation. The Ancestral Invocation is this thing right behind my head. It's going to increase damage by 15% for 6 seconds. I can choose any sort of ancestral property here. I can choose any one of these, and it really depends on what classes and what you actually want. I think the one that I have, damage increasing by 15%, is one of the best. But the way this works is you just go through the map, grind out gear, and you're looking for gear that has invocations on them so you can stack. Now, I'm not sure if there's a global cooldown or if you have different things that do different things. For example, this chest piece has a chance when I defeat an enemy versus this one has a chance when I grant a beneficial effect. I don't know if those have separate cooldowns or if they're the same global cooldown. I cannot test that yet. I imagine they're separate cooldowns, to be honest. After thinking about this more, family bonuses have their separate cooldowns based on your family. This kind of feels that same way to me. But if you get 2 of the same type of invocation, for example, if I have 2 things that do this exact thing, which means granting an ally a beneficial effect, etc., this will actually increase the chance and reduce the cooldown. You can see here, when multiple items, here I'll just move myself over, when multiple items have the same invocation, chance to trigger is increased and cooldown is decreased right here. So you're going to want to stack a specific invocation, generally speaking, so that you can go ahead and bonus up your specific build. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. The way this works here is that your legendary items are split between your ancestrals and your invocations and your regular legendaries. For example, you can get an item that doesn't have any of it, or you can get an item that has an ancestral property, or you can get an item that has an invocation. As far as I can see, the only things that can roll ancestral properties are your main hands. All the other 5 pieces can roll invocations, and invocations and ancestrals work together in unison. Now, here's where it gets a little bit difficult. Your invocations are not able to be essence transferred as far as we can tell, which means that these are kind of like magic stats, which also means that you need to find the perfect piece that has a triple and has your invocation that you want. And because the items are split between your normal legendaries and your invocations, this is a very, very difficult process. So these are very, very RNG to get, very, very RNG based on what you get. And the bonuses themselves are RNG based on the chances that it have to proc. So that's very, very annoying, in my opinion. I really wish they had an essence transfer system for the invocations. And this is a really, really unfortunate thing to be part of the whole system. The last thing I want to mention here about the Ancestral Tableau is the bonuses. Now, these bonuses actually give you combat rating. So if you just see here, you have your max bonus. This max bonus is going to be determined by the 4 best stats. As far as I understand, this is going to be based on your total attributes. So for example, if you have a piece that has, I don't know, 300 total attribute stats, and you have one that's 301, it's going to pick the one that has 301 over the one that has 300. So you can see here, it's picking the 4 legendaries versus the 4 rares, because the 4 rares have less attributes. What that means is your 4 ancestral weapons, based on the combination of the stats here, that is going to determine your max bonus per stat. What your max bonus means is this is the maximum amount of stats you can acquire when you upgrade your tableau. When you upgrade your tableau, you can see here, if I were to upgrade it, I would get 2 strength, 1 intelligence, 1 willpower, 1 vitality, and 2 fortitude. So you don't actually get this max bonus when you put these weapons in. You get the current bonus when you upgrade it, and your current bonus can be potentially your max bonus if you're grinding out your Warband activity. What this all means is you need to grind this weekly to get your maximum efficiency Warband activity, and then based on how much Warband activity you can actually acquire after the fact, we'll see how effective it is to grind it out. This is one way to grind consistent combat rating. You can see here, I'll just show my combat rating just to show it works. I'm at 6055. If I were to upgrade this, my combat rating will actually increase to 6062. So I just got 7 combat rating. And this is a really, really nice way for free-to-play players to catch up, assuming you're in a warband. Keep in mind that this is something that you can do solo. You can create a warband solo. You can go ahead and do the Purge the Depths solo, put an ancestral weapon in here solo, and then just do that. So if you're not someone that can actually go ahead and be with a group, you can do all this solo, which is kind of cool. So my final thoughts here are that the overall mechanics are super fun. I really enjoy the activities. I enjoy the ancestral weapons. They're all fun. There's no downside to it. The one gripe I have is that the mechanics themselves are very, very difficult and RNG based to acquire. It's not a very fun thing to go ahead and look for your invocations. You can't min-max it very well. Now, on top of that, the combat rating thing is actually a really nice feature. I enjoy this sense of progression. Again, this is a way you can get consistent progression. It's not amazing. It's not the most end game, insane thing in the entire game, but it is something you can consistently get value from. Last thing here is the Warband activity. And just quickly, again, giving my overall thoughts, the best way to go ahead and grind this is through the repeatable Warband raids or through going through your endless demonic hordes, which we ended up doing. And I guess I kind of skipped over that part. But you're really going to want to go ahead and grind this out doing your Warband activities or the defense of the Sirengar. And these have 2 modes. One normal mode, which is reset based on when you actually completed it. You can see we completed it a couple hours ago. The rewards are not that great in both game modes. You can honestly just skip this if you wanted to, or you can do it. The best suggestion I have is to go ahead, do open world farming to get your ancestral weapons and your invocations, and then come back and then grind out Warband raids for your activity to upgrade those weapons and get the combat rating from them. So there you go. There's my overall comprehensive breakdown of this whole system. Let me know what you think of it down below. Again, I think the game modes are especially fun. I think that the mechanics are fun. It's just a matter of how difficult they are to acquire as a solo/casual player. And because you can actually do this as a solo player, I think it's actually much more lenient than initially I thought. Again, you can do all of this solo except for the Warband raids, but to get Warband activity, you can do the Purge the Depth solo. So it really does not matter if you are in a Warband or not. You can literally just do it regardless of if you have players to play with. So that is cool. Again, let me know what your comments are down below. Let me know what you think about the game mode. A lot of you can't even experience it yet, so this may be a first impressions type thing for you. And if it is, again, I want to see what you think. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, be sure to like the video, sub to the channel, and I'll see you for the next one.